What is happening, guys? GT5K101 here, and welcome to my review for a preview, for the 2014 Australian Grand Prix at Melbourne Albert Park. First things first, sorry I've been uploaded in ages, been really busy with college and work and that kind of stuff. And yeah, 2014, my first ever video of 2014, I believe, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Is it? Can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head. Probably was Bahrain video. Actually, it wasn't. I don't think it was the first. I think it's like the third video of 2014. Actually, I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, I'm back and hopefully I'll be uploading a bit more regularly and a bit more consistently. So yeah, before I start this preview, I just want to point out that the gameplay isn't from Australia, it's obviously from Japan. It's from the Front Row Racing League Division 1 race at Japan Suzuka. And I finished 5th, I was quite happy with how I drove. It was heavy rain, which meant all my dry setup practice went completely down the drain, but I finished 5th, qualified 6th, so it wasn't too bad. Could have been better, but hey ho. Move forward to India. So anyway, 2014 F1 2014 set to be one of the most interesting world championships in the history of Formula One. For a number of reasons, the new rule change. Well, particularly the biggest reason why it's going to be very interesting is the engines. Just reliability for the engines will be a big talking point. Renault is set to not do well in the first few races, but you know, it's just, I know a lot of people are saying that Red Bull will even struggle to finish the first race in Australia, which just shows how badly Red Bull's been throughout the testing season. They've done, I think, Mercedes, their main rivals, Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, they've done hell of a lot more runs than Red Bull. Red Bull hasn't had the chance to test out mileage, they haven't had time to test out their fuel economy, they haven't had to test out their performance, and they're just trying to even get the car off the grid. That's basically what they're trying to do throughout the whole of testing. I believe it was one of the Bahrain tests, Daniel Ricciardo clocked up at least, I believe it was 40 or 50 laps, 30 laps, I don't know. Between 30 and 50, that's my guess. But even still, Mercedes managed to do a hell of a lot more during one day. And it's a bit of a shame, to be honest, because I like Red Bull. Well, I don't like Red Bull, but you know what I mean. I want Red Bull to challenge Mercedes and all that kind of stuff. They've been challenging Mercedes for years, and they'll be challenging many teams in fact for years, and I think this year that challenging stops, their reign stops, their hunt for 5th World Championship stops. In fact, Sebastian Vettel's run for 5th World Championship stops. Bit of a shame really, but haha. So yeah, Mercedes reliability. Mercedes are set. Odds are Mercedes will win not only the World Championship, well, not only the race this weekend, but in fact Lewis Hamilton is set to win, is hoping, and the odds are that he will win the World Championship in Abu Dhabi in November, whenever it is. Which is quite surprising considering what happened last year. Last year, if you remember, Mercedes had a really quick car in lap 1, like really had quick one lap performance, but in the second lap their tires were degrading too much. They had a similar problem this year, but luckily their tires are actually lasting a lot longer, and they have got really good reliability, same as last year. I think the only engine problem was Hungary last year when Nico Rosberg retired because of the engine fire, and Lewis Hamilton retired in Suzuka, but that was because of a puncture and fire. I don't think Lewis Hamilton even retired because of a technical fault that the car just naturally had, like an engine fault or anything. It was just I wouldn't say Java mistake, but you know, something that the track did to the car. But yes, it's going to be a very interesting race. See what happens. And yeah, Red Bull failing to finish the first race, the reliability is not doing well. I've already said that, haven't I? Renault powered cars, they could be in trouble as well. In fact, Renault the Renault engines don't last that long. Um, people, quite a lot of people were saying that Renault could be reliable because of their road cars, but Mercedes have got a lot more knowledge and experience with V6 turbos. In fact, they're using V8 turbos and they can just pretty much down the cylinders to V6s, and they've got a lot more experience with the V6 turbos and their road cars. Obviously, it's not the same engine, but they've got similar engines in the AMG models and the normal Mercedes models, and they can use their knowledge from that and transfer that into Formula 1. And there we go, Mercedes German reliability once again. I think Caterham, as far as I know, Caterham is the most reliable Renault car in the whole grid. I think Williams did a very good decision. It's as if they knew that Renault was going to be bad, so they switched to Mercedes for this season. We haven't known, or we should have known. Williams have signed a contract with Mercedes so that Mercedes can provide them the engines. So Williams is now a Mercedes powered team, and they're doing very well in reliability. In fact, I think they're third fastest, so third fastest. They clocked up very good reliability, very good performance, and in fact they could even hunt for a top 5 position for this season. After last year's dreadful season, in fact the worst season for Williams in their history, which was a real shame. Williams don't deserve to be like that. They deserve to fight for at least top 5. But obviously last year wasn't to be. But hopefully it will change this season. Yeah, Caterham I think will be the strongest Renault powered team on the grid. Obviously, because people say, "Oh, it's Caterham, they're going to be slow as hell." But in fact, if you think about it, I'm going to point this out to Marussia as well. If the top teams like Red Bull, Lotus, those kind of teams struggle with reliability, the low ranked teams could just sneak up into the points. I mean, it could happen. It really could happen. And people are even saying that Marussia can score at their first points of their history, and I believe it could happen. Marussia has been really good. I think they're with Ferrari, using Ferrari engines now, and they're very happy with Ferrari engine. Ferrari's been they're probably second in terms of reliability, obviously ahead of Renault, but not as good as Mercedes. I mean, I think it's pretty much neck and neck between Mercedes and Ferrari. Well, actually, I would just say Ferrari's better than Mercedes, because I think Ferrari had a few problems in Bahrain and Jerez in their testing campaign, and yeah, I think Ferrari does have a chance to redeem themselves after last year. And yeah, I hope Kimi Räikkönen can bring some good to Ferrari since on his return to the team after leaving Lotus. And in fact, Lotus hasn't even paid Kimi Räikkönen yet. They still haven't paid him, which just shows how bad Lotus is. And I think, in fact, they said in a statement, their new team principal said that they've got half the budget of the top teams, and that just shows how bad Lotus are financially. And I hope something good happens to Lotus, because we really need Lotus. I mean, Lotus they're a well respected team. They've got good strong drivers in Romain Grosjean and Pastor Maldonado. Well, you could argue about Pastor Maldonado, but yeah, he's a piggy bank for Lotus, which is pretty much why Lotus signed them on. So yeah, the Mercedes powered cars, McLaren are looking very strong. Kevin Magnussen topped up some fastest laps throughout Bahrain and Jerez. And they're not as good as performance. Only some days they're good in their testing, but in terms of reliability, they're very strong, and their car seems pretty quick as well. So hopefully it'll be a much better car than last year. They tried to do an ambitious run just like what Ferrari did in 2012, using the pull-rod suspension, which helps with front grip, but The back is really oversteering, and they were really struggling for grip last year, and their their gamble hasn't paid off. It didn't pay off last year, which was a shame. But hopefully McLaren will jump back up through the ranks and hopefully aim for the championship. Ferrari powered cars are in the middle. The only Ferrari powered cars this year are Ferrari, obviously, the Works Ferrari, and the Sauber. Obviously, Toro Rosso's now moved to Lotus. Probably a bad decision. Only time will tell, really. So yeah, as I said, Ferrari aren't doing too bad. They haven't had much time to test performance as much. They only pretty much reliability. And if I just want to point this out, most of the teams actually wanted to test reliability more because obviously I believe, I've got this theory that reliability will be more important than performance. Because you could have, let's say Red Bull qualify pole position, Sebastian Vettel qualifies first, and even though Red Bull doesn't have a reliable car, they could have a car with good performance. If he qualifies first, halfway through the race, both Red Bulls retire, and the more reliable cars will just sneak up. I mean, the faster cars could break down, which means that the slower cars, yet more reliable cars, could sneak up through the grid. I know this is confusing, but I think this is why I think this season is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very mixed up. There's a very mixed up grid in terms of like reliability and performance and that, but my head's yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. Hamilton to win it, as I said at the start of this video, probably. Only time will tell. I believe so. The odds are on him and Nico Rosberg to win the race and possibly the World Championship. And Marussia to score his first points, probably. Testing, they wasn't really as well. They were actually faster than Red Bull because Red Bull hasn't had the time to test performance. The only time they had to test the performance was in the simulator. In the simulator probably, but the simulator only tells half the story. The other half of the story is on the track, which is why all the teams will be really concentrating on just getting the final bits and pieces sorted to their car. The cars are in fact at Melbourne as we speak, as I talk to you. Well, in fact, I'll also say that because let's say in a few years' time, in April, you say, if I say that, you're thinking, oh, what are you talking about? Yeah, by the way, I'm uploading this the day before practice. In fact, practice starts within 9:10, so it starts around about 6 hours, 2 o'clock in GMT. I probably won't be staying up. I might catch some of FP2 before I go to college in the morning. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but yeah. So knowledge about Australia, the Melbourne track. I mean, people would say, right, in 2012 this happened, 2013, a few rule changes, so it might change. 2014, people would say, yeah, but this is a Red Bull track. No, it isn't. All that thing about this track is this team, this track is that team. In the olden days, we call the old cars olden days now. That was olden days. We are now in the new era, the return of the turbocharged era, the new era of the ugly noses. Nobody knows how fast teams will be in Australia. The only thing they know is in the simulator. Or as I said, that only tells half the story. The other half of the story is done on the track. Nobody knows what track suits what team. We will see in Australia what car will love the track and what car will absolutely hate the track. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of my preview for the Australian Grand Prix of 2014. I just want to make a few updates to my channel. I've got a new gaming PC and I'm hoping to make a video on the specs and that kind of stuff on it. And also I'm hoping to upload some 2014. I'm hoping to start a new series called GT's Classroom, which is pretty much the same as Ted's Notebook, apart from I'll change the name just in case Guy doesn't get a bit pissed off. But yeah, but yeah, just in case something happens. But yeah, it's pretty much my version of Ted's Notebook. I'm gonna try and explain how the engines work. But obviously, if you don't understand what I'm saying, go and listen to Sky Sports because I'm pretty much nicking all their stuff. They've got really good in-depth knowledge. To my Ted Favorites, has got really good knowledge of the engines, and it's very interesting about how they work. And I recommend you watch his videos, and I'll be making some videos as well as the season goes through. And I'm thinking about live streaming again in the next few weeks about Gran Turismo 6, The Walking Dead, The Last of Us, Beyond Two Souls, just live streaming random games, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video, guys. Start of 2014 F1 season. Who will win? Who will not? Who will rise? And who will fall? Take two, action. Who will rise and who will fall? Only time will tell. This has been GT5K101, and I'll see you later.